Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Bill Costaritas, and I have a couple of folks in here that work with us in our organization. Woody and Bass Boat will be answering questions, and Jeanette Sims. So just another 30 seconds or so, and we are getting started, and the program is recorded. And we want to thank you for being with us this afternoon. And we're going to talk about not only a better way to trade, but probably tell you about a market you may or may not have any experience in. But as we were waiting to get started, of course, I'm watching the sideshow in Washington, as I'm sure many of you are. And, you know, shutdown, no shutdown, what's affected, who's affected. I will tell you that midnight, of course, as you know, is the deadline for reaching an agreement. But tonight, the only way, if you want to trade this market or take advantage of whatever they might do, this market that we're going to talk about today is the place where you would take advantage of that. And of course, I'm going to put up our little disclaimer and disclosure agreement. If you'll take a second and look at that. All right, as I said, my name is Bill Costaritas. A lot of folks, because I'm a full-blooded Greek, they call me the Greek. And I have been involved in this market we're going to talk about today since its inception. And when you say, well, what was its inception? Well, it's the very late 80s and early 1990s. And of course, when I started in this market, didn't have anyone to teach me or anyone else who was trying to learn this market. There weren't any books. There wasn't a manual. There was not any kind of education that you could receive, because the Globex or after hours market, those two terms are interchangeable, has only been around since that period of time, and it's really evolved in one of the most active and used markets throughout the world. And for example, and I'd like to ask many of you, how many of you have you traded futures? How many of you traded options? And what markets do you trade? Because that'll help me in this conversation today, if you will. All right, excellent. So we do have quite a few veterans in the room, but I will tell you, if you've never traded futures, you'll still be able to trade this market and trade it the way we do. All right, so how many of you, and now I know some of you just answered you're Forex traders, so I assume you've traded this market, but how many of you actually have traded in the Globex market, meaning that you've traded after 5 o'clock Central Time and before, say, 8:30 Central Time in the morning, just before the U.S. market opens? All right, that helps me. Thank you. The one thing I can tell you as we go through this program is that the Globex market, as I said earlier, has only been around since 1992. And don't feel bad if you're not familiar with it, because there are still many, many, many people around the world, even though they trade actively in the markets, are not familiar with this market. And I will also tell you that it has a different set of rules than the markets during the day. So just real quick, to give you a ballpark of the Globex market, it is the grandfather of electronic trading. It was created by Reuters in the, as I said, the late 80s, early 90s to accommodate currency traders, because that was a 24-hour market, and they would have floor traders, and the volume was very thin, and they were losing money based on the volume that they had at night on the CME. So they created this electronic market, and as I said, this is the very first electronic platform. Just about every platform that you see and trade on today was derived from the Globex, the original platform. And in those days, when you started trading in this market, you had to be qualified to trade it through a futures exchange. You spent quite a bit of money in order to access it, and you spent quite a bit of money in terms of the commissions. They were like $25, if you can imagine a round turn. There were very, very few markets that you could trade. There was, the S&P, the bonds, all of the currencies. Oil came somewhat later, but it wasn't like it is today, where you can trade just about any market, futures market, that you can possibly think of. And so this literally puts you in the 24-hour market, and that's what we're here to continue to talk about tonight. The trading hours have evolved over time, and it used to start at 3:30 in the afternoon, and then discontinued, and then the U.S. market would start trading at 8:30, but they would close the Globex at 8:15. But for the most part now, it's almost seamless, and I'll talk to you a little bit about those hours. But for the most part, what we do, we start around 5 p.m. in our chat room, and that market trades essentially till 8:30. Now, today, so you'll know these times, the market, the S&Ps, the futures, they stop trading at 3:15. They reopen at 3:30, and they close again at 4:15, and this is so most can reset their servers. 5 o'clock, you start the new trading day. So let me say that again. If, for example, you take home some contracts after 4:15, if you're in a position, you're going to get a margin call, because the new trading day, for example, today at 4:15, if you're still in a trade, the new trading day for Tuesday starts at 5 o'clock Central Time. All the times that I will talk about today, by the way, are Central Times. And most platforms charge or issue margin calls somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,850 to $4,000 to carry a contract overnight, that I'm familiar with anyway. All right, but here's what's important. And I have been teaching this course for many, many years. I have traded in it since inception. I doubt you will meet or talk to anyone that's been in this market longer than I have. And of course, in the early days, there were very, very few of us, because like I said, you had to have a specific terminal. You couldn't just access it with a computer like you can today. You had to have certain qualifications and certain certifications, and they were very expensive. Today, if you have $1,000 in an account, you have a platform to trade on, you can now access this market. But if I say anything today, if you want to learn to trade, or even if you're a trader now, this market is easier to trade. It's a better trending market. The market is slower at night, so it's easier to trade. And let me just tell you, there'll be nights where it's so slow, it's like watching paint dry, as they like to say. But generally, there's plenty of volume and there's plenty of activity. But most of the folks who trade with us at night, they've learned to pace themselves. If it's not active, if it's quiet, they'll eat dinner, watch a little TV, read a book, or whatever. But because it's a slower market, it's much easier market to trade than it is during the day markets. And here's the most important. Now, I'm not telling you there are no computer buy and sell programs, but by and large, you don't have these high-frequency trade programs that just kick in, and you never know when those are going to kick in. And you may have computer buy and sell programs on, say, like the Nikkei market that we follow at night in Japan, or you may have buy and sell computer programs on the DAX in Germany that we follow, but you don't have direct computer buy programs in the E-mini S&P that we trade, and that's the only market, by the way, we trade at night. There are a lot of other markets that we follow to get direction on the mini S&Ps, but we only trade the mini S&Ps. So you don't have to worry about getting surprised when you're in a trade. Now, I'm not going to tell you we don't have big rapid movements if there's news. Sure we do. But it's not like when you just have these computer buy and sell programs that just kick in without any rhyme or reason. One of the reasons you don't have these computer buy programs at night is because there's just not enough volume to satisfy these models. And as many of you know, it requires a lot of volume. Now, the indicators that we'll talk about a little bit today and that we teach in our course and that we constantly use in our chat room, these indicators only work at night. For example, you'll hear us talk about the DOME, which stands for depth of market. Most of you have that on your platforms, and that is one of our primary indicators that we use in our room and in our trading. So I will tell you that the DOME is a tremendous trading tool at night, but during the day, it just doesn't work. So you have less volatility, you have tighter stops, and you have less risk at night. And that makes it a much easier market, and I hate to use this term, but sort of a saner market to trade. Now, in addition to the speculation, and this is how I really got into this business, I was a portfolio manager. I was managing several $100 million when I was active, and this is prior to 2004. I started in 1977 as a retail broker and then became a portfolio manager. And the reason I got interested in this market because it gave me a place to hedge my portfolios at night when I had nowhere else to go. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go home at night or in the afternoon, and we're going to have news tonight that's going to move this market, obviously. When you go home in the afternoon and you think everything's fine, and you wake up in the morning and you find out there was a Lehman Brothers, because all of these events happened at night, I can tell you, because I was there in trading. The tsunami in Japan, and I can go down a whole list of news that came out and affected the world markets that made these markets move, and they moved at night before you got up in the morning. So not only is this a platform for speculation, it's an excellent platform for hedging your portfolio. And this is the only place, once the market's closed. Now, I'm not talking about that secondary market that trades in the evenings from about, when the U.S. closes at 3 o'clock to cash equities, and they trade till about 7 o'clock. I'm talking about where you can truly hedge your portfolio with futures. This is the only place you can do that. Now, the E-mini, and I'm often asked this question, S&P, provides ample liquidity and volatility to trade at night. As I said, there are some nights it's a little quiet and it gets quite slow, but by and large, there's, always a trading opportunity. It just depends on when and what time of night. And I'll talk a little bit about that later as well. Now, in a second, I'm going to put up a slide that will give you sort of a ballpark. Here it comes of essentially how many contracts you'll want to trade. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm just going to put this up and let you look at it for a second. Again, the program is recorded, and you'll be able to access this information and study it for longer periods of time if you choose. And as I said, in addition to being able to trade this market, it's an excellent vehicle if you want to hedge your portfolio. So let's say tonight, worst case, they shut down the government, which to some degree is already in the market. This will give you an opportunity to adjust or hedge your portfolio and trade through it perhaps. Okay, so what is the difference between an average trader and a successful one? I know that I've been doing this for, I've lost count. I've been managing or trading the market since 1977, and I often, question some of the things that I do, and I think any good trader will often question his discipline and what he's doing and think about it off and on, throughout his entire career. But this is what we all have in common. You have to have an effective plan, and I will tell you after 23 years of trading futures, we've developed what we think, and we have the numbers to back it up, an effective trading method. And I think when you are finished with the presentation today, I hope you will agree with me. All right, so we're going to continue to talk about key market times, the proprietary indicators that I don't think you will see anywhere on any platform, any webinar, because they're my proprietary indicators that I have spent years developing. Greekisms. Now this is often confusing. This is a name given to what we call market signals. These are basically broad overviews of the market that we use to trade at night. Different from the indicators, by the way, so don't confuse market signals or the Greekisms with the indicators. And we'll talk about those as well. Money management. And often this is one of the biggest areas I think most traders overlook. If you don't have a good money system or management system, I'm pretty sure you're going to fail. And I can tell you from my own experience, if you don't have an effective and disciplined money management, it's going to be very difficult to succeed. I can't say you can't, but I haven't seen many traders who do without one. And we'll talk about that a little later because we have something I think is relatively unique. All right, so let's go through some of these. Key market times. The U.S. is not always in control like we'd like to think it is. For example, from around 5 p.m., again, all these are central times, till midnight, the Asian markets are in control. And the markets that we follow, and this is where my experience comes in, is that we only follow the Nikkei in Japan and the Hang Seng, which is in Hong Kong, that pretty much is representative of the Chinese markets. Now, you may scratch your head and wonder why these markets and not others. For example, what about Australia, Canada, South Korea, any of these other markets outside of the U.S.? I just haven't found where they move the S&P. We are only interested in those markets that move the S&P, and in Asia, it's the Hang Seng and the Nikkei. You can go spend days and weeks and months and years trying to figure this out, but you'll take my word for it. I can save you a lot of time, pain, and misery. These are the two markets that you need to follow. Now, you can't just go anywhere and get quotes on these markets. Most think they can get the Nikkei off the CME, which is provided for free, but that Nikkei quote that you get during the day is not the correct market to use. You need the Singapore quotes on both of these markets, and we provide those quotes in our chat room. If you want to trade these markets on your own, you have to have these real-time quotes, because 5 or 10 minutes can cost you a fortune. For example, last night you had PMI that came out on China, and these markets started selling off because it was a disappointing number. 5 years ago, and here's the best example I can give you, you really didn't care about PMI or inflation or housing sales or GDP in China. You just didn't care. But today you better know. It's the second largest market in the world, and if you don't know what those markets are doing, you're at a huge disadvantage. Huge disadvantage. Even if you're not going to trade these markets, you need to know this information. It's extremely important. And we give you websites, we give you information and where you can get this stuff, or you can be a part of our chat room, and most of the folks in there will provide the information, but we all have these websites and places where we go to get this information, and we share it with each other. I can't tell you how many times you're going to get up in the morning and listen to CNBC and Bloomberg, and in fact they were doing it today, and they'll talk about the Chinese PMI data and how that had an effect on the markets. And generally speaking, what's going to control how the U.S. markets open in the morning is what took place overseas. Guys and gals, if I say anything today, we're in a 24-hour market, and you need to know that. This is 24 hours of information, and if you're trading just during the day, you're passing up some 17 hours of information that will help to make you a better trader by at least not knowing what's going on in these markets. Again, whether you're going to trade them or not. Now in Europe, basically we define that market as the market that starts at 12 a.m. It goes to 5 a.m. in the morning. After 5 a.m., the U.S. market starts to dominate. That's what takes over the trading at that time. Excuse me. So the controlling markets in Europe are the DAX and the FTSE. Not France, excuse me. Not France, not Spain, not a lot of the other markets that you would think. Sometimes if there's extreme news in Spain and Italy, yes, we saw what Greece did, but we're talking on an ordinary basis. The DAX and the FTSE, those are the two markets that you need to follow. You don't need to follow these other markets in order to trade as we do. So again, the international markets, they play a key role in the 24-hour market and how these U.S. markets are going to trade. I think we see it day in and day out, and I think you will agree with me. Now, in our chat room, we generally, not all the time, we start around 5 p.m. and we go till 5 a.m. in the morning. Generally speaking, we're we're done with our trading by 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, but sometimes we'll continue past those times. And I know a lot of you are thinking, I just, I have a job, I have kids to take care of, I have whatever. We know that. And so the majority of people in our room, the chat room, they trade with us from 5 p.m. till roughly midnight or 11 o'clock, and then they go to bed. Very few, I call the diehards, if you will, the night owls, stay up with us after midnight and continue to trade. But the room is open, and we try to keep the room open so the folks in our room have become very close. They've become good friends, and they can communicate with each other, share ideas, even though we're not calling trades. But generally, we call trades between 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. with the majority of those trades from 5 p.m. till roughly midnight. So the Globex trading hours are essentially from 3:30 to 8:30. We're talking about the market. Don't confuse that essentially with the trading room or the chat room that we have, because there are nights where we've made our money by midnight and just say, okay, we're going to shut it down. It just depends on the markets and how active they are. But I will say this again. If you're ignoring the night markets, the night session, the overseas markets, you're missing out on 17 hours of information. Okay, now proprietary indicators, as I said, you're not going to see these anywhere else that I know of. If someone else has them, they're using something that I developed, because I've been doing this longer than anyone else you'll meet. Now the proprietary indicators that we use, we have pivot times that are important to know when these markets move. For example, you'll see the S&Ps, and once again now, I see someone asked a question about trading the metals. We only trade the mini S&P. My philosophy is, and has been, learn one market and learn it well. I mean, I've traded every market you can imagine in my career, and like I said, my philosophy has worked well and served me well. Learn one market, learn it well. Now, we will look at other markets, but only those markets that move the mini S&P. That's all we're interested in. If it moves the mini S&P, we're going to watch it. We're going to use it. Here lately, the yen has dramatically affected how the S&P trades. I'm not going to sit or get into that today in this webinar, and I'll be happy to do it in one of our training sessions in the room. So you have to know when these markets are going to move. You have to know when Hong Kong opens. You have to know when the Nikkei opens, when they go on break, And we have all these times, and we provide these times to you because by knowing these times, you'll be able to save yourself a lot of pain and misery, because these markets, just like in the U.S., they move before we open in the morning and they move before we close. I watched this market today go from 1675 into the close up to 1679 and a quarter in the last few minutes of trading. Jasmine, we do have a slide that will show you, yes, we track our trades diligently and very carefully, and I'm going to tell you about that in a few minutes. And you can see the track record we have in the room and what we do and how we do it. Okay, the DOME, which I spoke of earlier, is one of our proprietary trading tools that we use. And we do look at other markets, as I just said. We'll look at the bonds, the yen, the euro, and it's very important that you follow these other markets, because they can tell you and give you a lot of information that will help you understand what's going on and help you find a trend and direction for when you trade. Now, these Greekisms, there's some 15 of these. Again, not to be confused with the proprietary indicators. And these are just broad overviews and signals and things you should keep in mind when you're trading. And now, how did I develop these? As I did the indicators. As I found something that worked, and you know, ladies and gentlemen, we all know nothing works 100% of the time in this business. But if you can find something that works 70, 80% of the time, you can make money. And that's the point. And whenever I found something that worked 70, 75, 80% of the time, I would adopt it. I would use it until it proved to do otherwise. But that's what you're looking at, is years and years and years of gathering this information, paying my dues, or my tuition, as I like to say. That's what I tell my kids. I paid my tuition. So there's some 15 of these, and I'm just going to touch on one or two to just give you an understanding of what they look like. We have what we call the overnight short squeeze. And essentially, if you have bad news, and we see this a lot of times you'll see it on a Friday where we'll get the employment numbers. Numbers will come out. They're disappointing. Volume somewhat light, especially in the summer on a Friday. Market spends most of the morning going down, reacting negatively to the news. Then they spend the rest of the day. How many times have you seen this? Running the market up into the close. Now, it could be a weekday, but a lot of times we see this on Friday. We sell into that news right at the close, especially if it closes at the top tick of the last hour of trading. That's important. The top tick of the last hour of trading, we'll get into that position right at the close and carry it over. Now, today would have been a good example of that, but I'm hesitant to call a trade because of the news tonight at midnight. But we did see that event take place into the close today. But as I said, because of what's going on in Washington, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we'll just try to see how this evolves overnight, and then we'll make a decision. So it's a tremendous shorting opportunity, and many a times right after the market opens, as I said before, at 5 o'clock, hopefully we can scalp a point or two, and we're on the sidelines looking for our next setup. Now here is a chart. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you can see how the market traded during the day and how it traded at night. Okay, one of my folks is telling me Obama's getting ready. Well, there he is. He's already started. Okay. So you can pretty much see how this Greekism or signal plays out. And we use this successfully over and over and over again. If they rally this market during the right into the close, they close at top tick of the last hour of trading, we're going to take advantage of it and try to scalp a trade early. Another Greekism, this one happens to be number 8, is generally speaking, and this past Monday is one of the few that didn't follow this, Generally speaking, the Monday following options expiration is an up day, and they usually continue into square positions even after the close and after the Friday expiration has expired. So you'll see at some point during Sunday night's trading, and we do start trading at 5 o'clock on Sunday nights. Now, we do not call trades in the chat room on Sundays. And one of the Greekisms and one of the things that I will teach you is that Sunday is one of the most unpredictable nights of the week. And my philosophy is because you've had a weekend and a lot of things can change and happen over the weekend versus the market closes at 3:30 and reopens at 5 o'clock. But generally speaking, the Monday after options expiration is an up opening at least. It may open the trade up for an hour, hour and a half, but that helps you if you know about that event, and you can prepare for it and trade into it during the course of the night and early in the morning. And again, here's a chart of what that trade looks like. I got a feeling we're going to regret not selling them into the close today, but like I said, we try to be very conservative and careful, especially when we're calling these trades. Now, as I said before, money management. I can't tell you how many times I have seen traders or watched traders that do not have an effective money management system. We call it the great separator. Now, I'm going to tell you about my own experience. When I was in the business, I traded options, I traded futures, I traded stocks. I mean, if it was tradable, I traded it. And I had a good career, and I just traded for the sake of trading. I really didn't have what I thought I had a good discipline for the trading and the mechanics, but I didn't have a good management system. And once I sold my company and I retired back in '04 and '05, I developed a money management system because I learned that if I didn't have a discipline with my money management, I was not going to succeed. And guys and gals, this is extremely important. I just cannot overemphasize this. One of the biggest mistakes you're making in your trading is to do so without a money management system. A proper money management system will make or break you. I just can't overemphasize that. And here are some of the biggest mistakes that I see over and over and over again. Now, I know a lot of you know this one. And if you're new to trading, take my word for it and pay attention. Over trading. Biggest number one mistake I see most traders make. Trying to hit home runs. How many of us have seen that or tried it ourselves? And we try, in our system, we try to encourage people to take money out of their accounts every month, every week, every quarter, whichever they prefer, to reward themselves for working hard. And that's what we believe is also important. So you want to draw those profits out of your account on a regular basis and reward yourself. Trust me. It goes a long way. It's like Pavlov's dog. And too many or not enough contracts. Now at night, because it's a slower market, most of you might be one contract traders. You can trade 2 or 3 contracts because it's a slower market, and you'll be okay. Now, let me preface what we're talking about this afternoon. If you're here because you want to learn to just trade this market, you're in it for an adrenaline rush, you're in it for the action, I will tell you now, I think you're going to be a little disappointed. Not that you can't do that, I just think you'll be disappointed. The way we trade in our chat room, my indicators, our rules, is that many of our traders are in here looking for additional income. Period. I can't put it any other way. That's why they're here with us. It's slow and it's steady, and you just think about this. Let's say you set a goal to make $2,000 a month. That's the best example I can give you. That's what you want to do to supplement your income. So let's assume you have 20 trading days out of each month on the average. Well, all you have to make is $100 a night average, and you'll make your $2,000. So if you trade one E-mini and you can pull 2 points out of this market at night, you make you $100 a night, and you'll average. Now, some nights you're going to lose money. You know it, and I know it. There are going to be nights where you have losing trades. Of course you are. But we're talking about averaging $100 a night. You set that as your goal. Then when you hit it, what do? You stop. This is the hardest thing I've seen for most traders to do, is once they hit that goal, to take it, shut it down, and go home. I'm guilty of it myself. I can't tell you how many times I've made my goal at night only to trade during the day and give most of it back. And it just, it grates on me to no end, especially when I do it on a Friday and I know better, and then I ruminate over it the whole weekend. And in our money management program, if you're trading 2 contracts, and let's say you make a point and a half real quick, well, or 2 points, we do this quite a bit in our money management system. We'll let you or ask you to take profits on the 1.5 points or 2 points, and then put a stop in at break even or so you're profitable, and then let it ride. Because some nights it may just keep right on going, and then you can have a really good night without any risk in the trade. So if you set a goal to make, let's just say $2,000 a month, you want to average $100 a day, we do that as consistent as anyone you will meet anywhere in the world of trading. We're not trading 6 or 7 times. We're not getting in and getting out all night long. We might make only 1 or 2 or 3 trades a night, but that's our goal. And it should be your goal. And if you make it your goal, you're going to be successful. So we encourage you to treat our program as a job. You have certain goals. You have certain parameters that you're trying to hit. You want to learn the process, minimize your risk, make it go. And you can do this night after night. We have people in our room that will verify it, that will tell you they've been with me for years. And, if you join us for the trial, you'll be able to talk to them, visit with them, and I know they'll support what I'm telling you. Don't overtrade. That's a big mistake. And take a weekly or monthly profit from your account, like a paycheck. Trust me, it's good reinforcement for what you're doing. Mitchell, if you will hold that question, or maybe Woody or someone else will answer, but the majority of people who trade with us, if you're not going to, hold it overnight, the majority of people that trade with us have somewhere between, you ought to have $2,000 in your account, but you're only required to have, by most platforms, $500 per E-mini that you want to trade. So again, this is our trading method: key market times, proprietary indicators, Greek isms, and money management, that in our trial, we will be getting into this information at depth. It's easy to learn. Now, when you see this fellow Woody in the room answering some of your questions, we like to say you don't need to be a rocket scientist to learn this. As it turns out, we're probably the only chat room that I know of that has its own rocket scientist as one of its moderators. Woody is retired from NASA and was with the shuttle program for I don't know how many years and years and years. And so when I tell you we have our own rocket scientist in the room, we do. And he joined us some time back, and now he trades with us and moderates the room since he's retired. Yeah, Mitchell, if you trade in the Globex and you hold a contract till 5 the next day, that's considered overnight margin. Okay, someone asked about performance. This is just one of our charts that we're going to put up, slides if you will. We call live trades. We start generally, as I said before, around 5 p.m. Central Time. I or Woody or Harry or Bass Boat that you see in the room are moderators. Our returns are tracked diligently. Now, you know, our former rocket scientist that keeps track of our returns is an engineer, and he's a numbers guy. And like he always tells me, the numbers speak for themselves. I can't tell you how many times he's fought me over a quarter of a point. So here's the graph that someone asked for earlier that shows our trades. And now, of course, I've been doing this much longer than this chart depicts, but we've only had 2 losing months, and this is one of them. We're down $215 according to my folks telling me what we're down for the month. And as I said, we've only had 2 losing months since we've been keeping records for 31 months. But generally, the average, and this is assuming now you make all the trades that we call in the room, you're going to average somewhere around $1,000 a month. Some might average, you know, more, some might average less. Now this is on one E-mini contract is what this is based on, because we don't know whether you're trading 5 contracts or 10. Everyone's different, but this is based on if you travel or if you trade, one contract. And I promise you, my friend Woody, our rocket scientist, he makes sure this is accurate before he puts his name on it. Now we have charts that we can furnish you later that tell you how we do during Asia and how we do during Europe. And he has a breakdown of just about every kind of statistic you can think of. And a lot of these slides and charts that Woody produces, I can't even understand. All right, so I cannot overemphasize this. It's not complicated to learn these markets at night the way we teach it. We make it simple. We make it easy to understand. We have people that are literally in this chat room there to support and help you all throughout the night and in the morning if you choose to trade during those times. I don't know of any other website or any other program that does that. Now, there might be some out there, but I don't know about them. Now, I know there are chat rooms where you can trade currencies, but I don't know of anyone who's literally supporting you throughout the entire session of the Globex at night, helping you. We have people in the room. They're friendly. They'll work with you, and they'll try to help you as well. We got some of the nicest people in the nicest chat room you'll see anywhere. That I can promise you. No matter what your level of experience, you can learn this market if you'll spend the time. And I'll say this again, most important aspect of this webinar today, every trader should understand this market and what takes place whether you're going to trade it or not. I just cannot overemphasize that. It will help you become a better, not just trader during the day, but investor as well. So here's the deal. The NightScalper Elite, 30 days. You'll get the 30 days access to the NightScalper trade room. You'll get the 101 course that just gives you the basics, how to get started. It'll be sent out to you. First Tuesday of every month, we have training classes. We really get into these indicators, and I literally try to teach you everything I've learned in my some 25 years of trying to learn these markets. I can save you a lot of pain and misery if you want to learn these markets, trust me. Trade alerts. We send out emails during the day and during the week. You get low risk, high reward trade setups. You'll get the market times, indicators, and trades. And you'll get the useful tools and indicators. Woody, can you put up what the room looks like real quick so they can get a feel for that, please, sir? All right, this is what our chat room looks like. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this right now. But we have our dome. We have our quotes over here to the right. You can see where we have the Singapore Exchange. Where you see Asia, we have the Nikkei and the Hang Seng, the Yen. Under Europe, we have the DAX and the FTSE, Swiss markets, the currencies. This is kind of giving you an idea of what our chat room looks like. All right, Woody, if you'll put the slides back up, sir. $47, 30 days to see if you like this market, if you want to learn to trade this market, if it makes sense for you. If everything I've said today is true, $47 to figure it out, to join the chat room, to trade with us every Tuesday. No, let me say that again. The first Tuesday of every month, we have in-depth training. I will tell you that when I first started teaching this course, we would charge $1,500 to $2,000, and it was a 2-day course that went for 10 hours. So every first Tuesday of each and every month, we have our in-depth training sessions, and we train and teach when we're trading in the room. People ask us questions, and not only will we try to help you learn as we go, but so will the folks in the room. I just can't tell you what a friendly group of people we have. So you're not sitting in some room by yourself staring at a screen trying to figure out what's going on. You've got people and professionals there to help you. All right, so now I'll take questions. I'm going to back up here for a second because I know there's some before I finish talking. And Bass Boat, some of our folks have nicknames, and Woody, they'll be, they have been answering some of these questions. Let's see. Most of the people on commissions, they trade somewhere between $5 and $6 round turn. We don't care what platform you trade on as long as you have a platform that will provide you with a dome. If you're not going to be part of our room, you're going to need real-time quotes off of the Singapore, which could cost you anywhere from $20 to $50, $60 a month. You have to have those if you're going to trade this market. As part of our chat room, we provide those for free. It's part of the service. Let's see here. Daryl, can you realistically start with a couple of $1,000s? You can. I mean, the more money you have in your account, the better. But, you know, if you're asking me, can you learn to trade this market with $2,000 in the account, the answer is yes. Enter trades on stops or market orders. Rich, I'm not sure what your question is there, but we generally use 2-point stops at night because, again, it's a slower market. Occasionally, we might use wider stops if there's news, and if there's news tonight, I'm sure we may be using wider stops. It's $47 if you sign up for the trial for 30 days, again, to see if everything we're talking about suits you, works for you, fits your lifestyle. That is the beauty of this program and trading in the Globex at night, because if you have a job or you have something that keeps you busy during the day, this market gives you flexibility and the ability to probably focus on it more at night than you can during the day. If you're in the room after 30 days, it's $147 a month. You can generally make that in 1 or 2 or 3 nights of trading. There's not any special indicators that you need to subscribe. Just use the information. Hopefully the website will get you in the room and give you your password. Sydney, that's a good point. Tomorrow night is October the 1st, first Tuesday of the month. So yes, we have one of our training classes tomorrow night. So you'll be able to get in to that room tomorrow night and get the training. In fact, it'll be in, I believe it'll be in this room, and we'll have our training if you join up today or tomorrow. So you can get a lot of the training tomorrow night, and also you're going to get the 101 course. It gives you the basics for learning this market. And as I said, the cost after 1 month is $147 a month, period, for the training, for the trades, for the chat room, for everything. The tools, the indicators, the quotes, everything. Training, if they haven't already answered that one, we start at 7 o'clock Central Time, first Tuesday of every month. Think or Swim works. I can't speak to the Think or Swim platform. We have people that use it, is all I can tell you. Uh, you know, most of our folks use OEC, Ninja, Thinkorswim. Um, Options Express, if I'm not mistaken, does not have a dome. You've got to have a dome, especially if you're going to trade the way we do. David, that is correct. We sent out an email. I don't know of any platform that will provide you with real-time Hang Seng quotes and Nikkei quotes from the Singapore exchange. Guys and gals, you got to have that, especially on a news night when China or Japan come out with news. I mean, 5 minutes can make or break it. So you have to have real-time quotes, and we provide those free in our room. If you go somewhere outside our room, you're going to pay for them, I promise you. We have looked. We haven't found anyone who provides them for free. We provide them through our fee. What is the upper end of number of contracts? Rob, we have people who trade 10 to 20. If they're more than that, I don't know. I personally trade 6 to 10 myself. Daryl, your question, what dollar amount is traded to accomplish a stated goal, is, that's going to depend on what your goal is. If your goal is $10,000 a month, obviously, you're going to have to set your parameters. We teach you how to set that money management system, but you set your goal of what you want to make a month. Be realistic about it. You'll be able to back into the number of contracts, how much risk you have to take each and every night. Trust me. My trading method will not work during the day. That's the beauty of this. This is proprietary information that I have spent learning and teaching myself, and you will not meet anyone who spent more time in this market than I have. I promise you that. But it does not work during the day. Training, Sydney, is up to you. Um, some people like to listen in on the training 2 or 3 times. They say it helps them each time they listen to it. Uh, you know, you might be able to get it all in one session. You might be able to get it in 2 or 3. It just depends. Mitchell, you'll need to ask your broker if you can get live Hang Seng and DAX quotes. Most of them provide the DAX. Where you're going to have your problem is live Hang Seng and Nikkei quotes on the Singapore exchange. Now, that's important, not the CME, the Singapore. Sydney, if you do not want to continue after the first month, you notify us, and you're out. Juan, the dome is depth of market is what that stands for. And in fact, tomorrow night we'll be teaching that in depth. Um, Someone asked about how many trades we'll make on a night. Very seldom, very seldom. Once in a blue moon are there no trades. Some nights are one, some nights are three, some nights are four or five. It's going to depend on the activity of the market. My indicators are not going to be found anywhere but in this room. What platform, as I said earlier, you decide to use is strictly up to you. John, you say you're excited. Um, I promise you that if your goal is to learn a lot about trading during the day, this will definitely help you. I've been teaching this way too long, and I know for a fact this will make you a better trader and investor, not just trader. Depends on your IRA and your trustee, John, whether you can trade with your IRA or not. But I do know we have people who trade their IRAs, absolutely. The problem with trading an IRA is that you have to go through a lot to get it set up. But some firms make it easy, some won't even take it. It depends again on who your trustee is. If you have an IRA at Merrill Lynch, they're not going to allow you to trade futures in it, I don't think. Rob, we do have a managed program where we put the trades in for you, and we do have a lot of people who request that. If you want to trade the Dow futures, RK, as you asked, that's up to you. We only trade the mini S&Ps. I mean, you literally trade any market you can think of at night now. It used to be that way, but that's the way it is now. Wayne, how much time, this is a great question, how much time do you have to spend in front of a computer at night? How much time do you have to spend putting in a trade and how much time you actually spend looking at the computer are two different things. A lot of our folks will put a trade on and go watch TV or read a book or whatever. As I said earlier, we put out alerts and we make alarms and noises so that if something happens or we change a trade or we put on a trade, we make enough noise for you to know that something's going on, or we send you an email so that if you're in another room and not near your computer, you'll know about it. All the trades are called live, Rick. Randy, a lot of people say they trade all day and they don't know about taking the trades and trading all night. I promise you that after a while, you'll find some sort of happy median is what I've found with most folks. And you'll take a look at trading both markets at night. You'll just cut back on one and maybe trade more in the other. Bill, can you do this on your own without my indicators? I'm sure you can. Not everybody, who trades that market has my indicators. I just think you'll save yourself a lot of pain and misery and money if you let me show you and teach you how we trade this, because I've spent 25 years trying to figure out how to do it. Let's see what other questions we have. I think Woody and Bass Boat have done a good job of answering most of them. Sydney, when do most of the trades get called? No way to say. It depends on the market. Sometimes we call a trade early, around 3:30 in the afternoon. Sometimes first trade may not take place till midnight. Sometimes we might be in and out of the market 3 or 4 times before 10 o'clock. Depends on the market. Charles, thank you for signing up, and I believe you can get into the room tonight. I think you can sign up and get in there right now. Am I right on that, guys and gals? Woody, Bass Boat? Once they sign up and get their password, they can go into the room, correct? And Bill W., yes, it is recorded. The indicators that I have developed are not going to help you during the day. This is strictly applicable for the Globex market and night market. Ralph, we do not use charts as such, but we do use resistance and support numbers that we develop throughout the day and the night. Okay, Frank, good question. Will you ever be able to trade on your own? That is what we try to do. I'm going to try to teach you everything I've learned in 25 years, and hopefully our philosophy is teach a man to fish. All right, let me see what other questions we have here. I do not use charts, TL. We have charts and graphs in the chat room that others use that we have. I personally don't look at the charts. The room is a trial for tonight. You can get in the room tonight with your password. Skip, what constitutes an overnight trade is if you get into a trade right now, let's just say, well, you can't right now, but at 5 o'clock when the market opens Central Time, let's say you sell the S&Ps because you think this market's going to fall out of bed tonight, you can stay in that contract till 4:15 tomorrow. If you carry it past 4:15 tomorrow, you're going to have a margin call. How does the Greek have a southern drawl? Boy, have I been asked that 1,000 times. When I started Merrill Lynch in 1977, those folks in New York used to make fun of me all the time in my southern drawl. I was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama. My family's been here for 3.5 generations. All right, let me see what other questions we have. You take the, okay, Woody answered that question for, is that LI? Do I see that correctly? Yes, LI, we tell you when to get in, when to get out of a trade. Doesn't mean that's what you have to do. I mean, you're in control of your own trading, but yes, we give directions on getting in and getting out. You want to hold it or hold some or do something different? That's certainly your prerogative. This chat room, we call trades very specifically, and we support you. Simon, we used to send out, or excuse me, Sydney. Sydney, we used to send out text messages. The problem was we were sending out so many during the course of a night, they started getting sent to like junk mail does on an email. I forget what the term is. They were being cached, if you will, and they would send them out, but it might be an hour and a half later. And that was a carrier problem, not our problem. So if there's a large volume of text going out on a regular basis, they cache them is what they call them. They put them in some kind of holding pattern and they send them out a little at a time, they being the carriers. Is your profit record consistent throughout the years? Li, yes. I've been trading this from my own account for, let's see, I can't tell you how long. I'd be broken out of business if it didn't. Bond Secure, what a beautiful place. Yep, it's in our backyard, Bill. I hope you caught fish and had a great time. Daryl, you should have at least a couple $1,000s in your account to play it safe. You can trade with a minimum of 500. You can trade one E-mini. It's just that you want to have a little margin in your account for error. So we recommend that you have at least $2,000 in an account. Randy, the managed accounts are like most futures accounts. We get a percentage of profit. So if you don't make money, we don't make money. Mike, short term, the markets will react to the government shutdown, but in the long run, they really don't make any difference. But I promise you this will be the only place you'll be able to react to them is right here tonight in this room. Rich, we have some folks that start right away. We recommend that you have a sim account and that you practice trading in that sim account, simulator account, until you're comfortable. That's our recommendation. David, where do we call where to put your stops and your losses? Yes, sir, we do. Richard, thank you, and we hope that we have a long and lasting relationship. I promise you, you'll find this one of the most friendly and probably one of the most knowledgeable rooms you can join as chat rooms go. Terry, send us a separate email because that's a different group that does that, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. Mark, the dome is a volume indicator, and we use a dome. Skip, thank you for joining. We welcome you aboard. Daryl, we do not partner with any RIAs. Our trading is strictly done through CTAs. That's an equivalent, so to speak, of a futures trading program. Sydney, what is a typical risk reward setup for our trades? As I said before, we use 2-point stops, 2.25-point stops. How much risk you're willing to take and how much pain on any given trade will be up to you. Sydney, our profit targets depend on how we set the trade up, but generally 2 to 3 points. In the market at night, you generally have about a 5-point trading range till 11 o'clock at night. Then it expands to generally 10 points during the European session. Richard, send us an email and we'll give you the name of a platform and someone to call. Robert, my email is bcostarides. Last name is COSTARIDES @yahoo.com. I'll type that in if y'all give me a second. All the times we talked about are Central Time, so they start trading at 5 p.m. Central Time. Training sessions are recorded. All right, folks. Like I said, I hope I didn't regret not selling them into the close this evening. But with the news that's ahead of us tonight, we decided that would not be the smart thing to do, and we try to take a conservative approach to our trading so we don't jump in front of, big news like we should have tonight with this circus in Washington. So we're just going to kind of wait and see how it unfolds, and we'll try to take advantage of whichever it goes, way it goes. John, my guess is we'll get a little reaction tomorrow to the downside. Now, let me quantify that, because tomorrow's the first day of the month, and that's usually, and it begins a new quarter, by the way. So, it's hard to say, because usually the first day of the month has an upward bias to it. And that's all part of what we teach and talk about in this room at night. So, the best thing to do is, I think there's going to be a shutdown. I think there'll be a short-term reaction in the market. But, past that, it's all about earnings and interest rates. The E-minis now are closed, folks, until 5 o'clock. They'll open here in 15 minutes. The S&Ps were primarily closed during his speech. They bounced a little bit, I see. Looks like they're going to open up a hair. Sydney, you can get the necessary quotes from Interactive Brokers, but you're going to have to pay for them. Now, I don't know what they charge, but most platforms charge anywhere from 20 to 50 bucks a month. We provide those to you for free. It's part of the service. All right, any more questions? Woody, am I correct? Is he going to have to pay for them through IB, or are they provided for free? My first name is Bill. All right. We thank you for sharing this time with us. We hope to get to spend some time with you in our chat room. We will start. I will do an update at 5:15. By the way, the updates, just so those of you who just joined will know this, if you want to write these down. Now this is not the, I'm in and out of the room all night, but the updates that we try to, so people will know when we're coming on. 5:15, 7:15, 9:15. We have one at 11:15 is generally depending on whether there's any movement in the market. So if there's movement, I'll generally come on 11:15. If not, there's a quiet time between the transition from Asia to Europe, so a lot of times it gets really quiet around that time. 2:15 are the times we do the updates. Woody just posted them. Thank you, Woody. Offer expires midnight Tuesday, so tomorrow night at midnight. One of the most frequently asked questions, John, when do I sleep? I cat nap. I also trade during the day, which is against my better judgment, really, because, I do really well at night and then give it back during the day, kind of like Robin Hood. Take from them at night and give it back during the day. Opposite Robin Hood, but I cat nap. Take a nap here, a nap there. It depends on how active the markets are. If the markets are really active, which they could be tonight, then, I may be up all night. All right, any more questions? Again, we want to thank you for your time. We look forward to working with those who have signed up for the trial. We hope you enjoy our chat room. And I promise you, and I know this for a fact, whether you're just in it for 30 days or you're in it with us for the long haul, you will learn a lot of information. Today's webinar was recorded. Woody, how would they get that recording? Just send an email to NightScalper. Frank, we thank you for your time, and we promise you, I don't think you'll hear or see anything like it anywhere else. Ralph, we look forward to working with you, sir. And we did have performance stats. I'll put those back up for you real quick if you like. Let's see if I can find them real quick. Oops, there it was. Here you go. And, all of our returns, stats, charts, we're proud of it. We don't hide it. So if you want this information, send us an email to the website. We'll be happy to send it to you. All your emails should go to nightscalper.com. Yes, it is a secured website where you put in your payments. Most of you are familiar with Infusionsoft. It's, as far as I know, the best software that money can buy. All right, guys and gals. Again, we thank you. I'll put the website back up again for those of you who want to try to join us. TL, it's all based on live trading. We don't keep records on sim data. Um, Simon, what is your busiest time of night? There's no way for me to answer that. That's going to depend on the markets and what presents itself. I would say the majority of trades are made between 5 o'clock and midnight. Um, LI, yes. To trade one E-mini contract, I recommend you have at least 2 grand. Let me say this again. You only need, based on the platforms that I'm familiar with, 500 to 1,000 bucks, but we recommend 2,000. The presentation was recorded. All right. My folks are telling me we need to wrap it up so we can wrap up the recording and send it out to you. So again, we thank you for being with us. We thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you, those of you especially who have joined the chat room. We'll see you there shortly, actually. Talk to you in a little bit. Brian, FINRA says anything under 25,000 is underfunded. That is a managed account. That's if you're going to do managed futures, I believe is what they're talking about. But, you know, you can put any amount in your account you want to trade with. I'm just telling you, you know, what most people who trade with us have anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 per one contract in their account. All right. Thank you again for being with us, and we hope to see some of you here in a few minutes.